In this lesson, we'll be learning how you are scored in the Ielts speaking test. You'll understand how the examiner uses the band descriptors to give you your band score in Ielts speaking. So how exactly are the band descriptors any different to what we have seen previously? Well, there are still 4 sections that the examiner uses to give you your band score. However, in place of task achievement, we have fluency and coherence. Lexical resource and grammatical range and accuracy are still here, but we also have the addition of pronunciation. As before, these 4 sections are weighted equally to give you your final band score. In this lesson, we'll go through each section and discuss what you need to do to get at least a band 7. So let's move on to our first section of the band descriptors, which is fluency and coherence. The fluency and coherence section of the band descriptors is simply a measure of how well you communicate your ideas and organise your thinking. To get a band 7, here are my top tips. You should be able to organise your ideas into easily understood speaking sections. You can use connectives and openers to structure your speaking and make it more logical. When required, you can self-correct to improve your speaking, and you can speak at length to describe in detail. And this last point is very important in the Ielts speaking test, as you will be speaking for an extended period of time. Let's move on to our second section, which is lexical resource. To get at least a band 7 in lexical resource, these are my suggestions. You're able to use a range of language and synonyms to vary your speaking. You can use some less common vocabulary, although maybe sometimes with some inaccuracies. You're able to paraphrase a question from the examiner or the question on a cue card. And you can use idioms and collocations with some degree of native style. Now don't worry if you're not sure what idioms and collocations are, as I'll be covering this later in the speaking section of this course. Here is section number 3, which is grammatical range and accuracy. For a band 7, you are able to vary your sentence structures and sentence types when speaking, and again I'll be showing you examples of these at a later point. You're able to use tense mostly accurately, although with some errors. Speaking is easily understood with some slight mistakes in your structure. And here is section number 4, which is pronunciation. Now, before I move on to tell you the requirements to getting a band 7 in pronunciation, it's important to note that there is not one accent style that is any better than the other. For example, a British accent is no better than an American accent. In pronunciation, you are only marked on how well you are able to pronounce your English. That means how clearly you can speak. So here are a few pointers for getting at least a band 7 in pronunciation for Ielts speaking. Your vocabulary is mostly well pronounced and easily understood. You show some understanding of native speaking pronunciation features, such as the schwa, which sounds like a Now there will be a lesson purely on pronunciation later on in this section of the course, and I'll share with you some features of pronunciation that you can easily practice and use in the Ielts speaking test. So there is your run through of the 4 sections of the Ielts speaking band descriptors, and here you have a full overview. You can read through this if you'd like to better understand how the examiner gives you your mark, but as with the other lessons, I will provide this for you as a printout or worksheet after this lesson. Once again, I believe that by understanding what the examiner is looking for, We can score higher grades in any test. So that brings us to the end of this lesson on how we are scored in IELTS speaking. See you in the next lesson.